The NBA draft lottery is set following a wild result that came in. I am Nic Rohloff. This is NBA Now. We're going to look at a post-lottery mock draft, and boy, is the storyline in the NBA the fact that the Dallas Mavericks made history, jumping up from number 11 to number 1 to earn the number 1 pick and the right to select Cooper Flagg. They had a 1.8% chance to earn the number 1 overall pick. They do that. Other risers on lottery night, San Antonio jumping from number 8 to number 2 to get the number 2 spot. Philly going from number 5 to number 3. Charlotte falls from the top 3 to the 4 spot. One of the biggest droppers as well is the Pelicans. They moved down from the 4th overall odd to the 7th pick. And then you see how the rest of the draft unfolded with Houston at 10, Portland at 11, Chicago at 12, and Atlanta and San Antonio rounding out the top 14. And I know a lot of the conversation will be this. So what say you? Let me know your thoughts. Is the NBA draft lottery rigged? Type R for rigged, type N if you think it is not. To be honest, I've never thought it's been rigged before. This is the first result in a long time where I am starting to question some things. But without further ado, let's get into my top 14 mock draft. And without hesitation, the Mavericks should be taking Cooper Flagg, the talented two-wing forward, who I would argue is probably the second best draft prospect to come out in the last decade. I would have him higher than Zion Williamson and only trailing the Victor Wembanyama pick from San Antonio in 2023. And how fitting is it that I don't want to go full conspiracy here and say that it is rigged, but the Mavs trade Luka to the Lakers and then get the number 1 pick. Adam Silver, did he guarantee Nico Harrison the number 1 pick if he traded Luka to the Lakers for ratings? It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't. But all jokes aside, that is going to be an unbelievable trio of Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg in Dallas. The Spurs get number 2. I actually will say this right now. I think it could be more likely they trade the pick now. Because with how good this spot is, why wouldn't the Bucks take a offer from San Antonio that include the number 2 pick? As Dylan Harper, the 6'6 lefty guard who can get to his spot, play, make, defend, I think would be a home run number 1 pick in most drafts. Just happens to be in one with Cooper Flagg in this 2025 draft. I think Harper's a home run. I think the Spurs just have to take him off principle, even though they have Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, But if they ultimately trade the pick, it would make sense too. If they keep it, you can't not go Dylan Harper. The Sixers is where the draft starts here at number 3, in my opinion. It's so fascinating. You can argue a lot of prospects here. Ace Bailey, Jakucionis, VJ Edgecombe. I went with the 2 guard from Baylor. When I think about roster construction in Philadelphia, why would they need another wing scorer, right? You don't need a guard. So you're not like a point guard. So you're not going with a Fears. You're not going with a Jakucionis. And I don't think Ace Bailey fits that team. They need winning players. Edgecombe plays on both sides of the floor. He can get his own shot. He can play off ball. He's an absolute freak of nature athletic-wise and is a blur in transition. You pair him up and you have a guard rotation of Maxey, Edgecombe, and McCain for the future. That's pretty enticing. Moving on to the number 4 pick, the Charlotte Hornets. I'm going with Ace Bailey. I wanted them to get Flagg because I thought it would be fun. But I think Charlotte's a good team to land the 6'8 forward that can score at all 3 levels. You now would have a trio of Bailey, Miller, and LaMelo. It's a very fun offensive grouping. But I am concerned of this. If you take Bailey, that might be the lowest IQ basketball team in the NBA without a question. And you could argue history. LaMelo does not play smart. Ace Bailey, his biggest knock is his shot diet, his decision-making, because he's as talented as it gets. He just takes bad shots. Now, he's a tough shot maker, but that's not really sustainable at this next level. I think Bailey's a good fit. You get a wing duo of Bailey and Brandon Miller, but my goodness, they're going to be having a tough decision here, in my opinion. I would have liked for them to get Edgecombe. And maybe the Sixers don't go Edgecombe, because I think Charlotte should be the team hoping Edgecombe falls to them in the top 5. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we are going to continue to roll out content on the daily and weekly NBA coverage here. And we'll be live for the NBA draft on June 25th, June 26th. So subscribe now, turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. The jokes write themselves here, but I do have the Jazz going with Kasparas Jakucionis, the guard from Illinois, overseas prior to that, here at the 5th overall spot. You could argue they need a center. I could see Queen. I could see Malawach. But I think Jakucionis just makes a lot of sense for them. Yeah, Isaiah Collier looked good, but what's his ceiling? Be a bulldog point guard off the bench? That's pretty solid. They need a true guard. You have Keontae George, but they don't have, and they're lacking that true point guard. And if they view Collier as their number one of the future, okay, that's fine. But if they don't, that's why I think they go Jakucionis here. His offensive ability is so dynamic. I think at the next level with NBA spacing and better athletes around him, he will be able to thrive. Unlike he was at college, he was not that efficient, turned the ball over a lot. I think that would change at the next level. So I think Jakucionis is a really good fit here for the Utah Jazz. Number 6, I have the Wizards going with Trey Johnson. They got screwed here. They had the best chance of winning the lottery, even though they tie the same odds, and that number 1 spot was theirs. They had the worst record this past year. They dropped down to 5 or 6, excuse me. I think Trey Johnson's a good fit. You have Bub Carrington. You have Alex Sarr. You have Bilal Coulibaly. You have Keyshawn George. Like, to me, that's your 1. If you believe you drafted right over the last 2 drafts, you have your 1 in Carrington, your 3 in George, 4 in Coulibaly, 5 in Sarr. The only thing missing is that 2 guard of the future. Trey Johnson, who was the SEC Freshman of the Year, averaged 19 points a game, can score at any spot on the court, has a ridiculous +6 wingspan, just needs to improve his shot IQ, his shot diet, and get better defensively. But ideally, at 6 here, you take Trey Johnson, and you have a starting lineup of the future that consists of their last 3 drafts of Carrington, Trey, Keyshawn, Bilal, and Sarr. So I think the Wizards should be foaming at the mouth to potentially get Trey Johnson at 6. Could also see them going with a winner at number 6, but I didn't. And I have the Pelicans going here at number 7 with the guard/forward Knueppel out of Duke. Just an absolute do-it-all guy. He defends 1 through 3. He can handle the rock. He's an excellent 3-point shooter off of the catch, can get his own shot by driving on guys, taking advantage of mismatches and big men, but also has a good game inside off 2 feet. And that's the thing that is so impressive to me. He can really drive and not get flustered in a crowd, but also take advantage of an undersized guard defending him, turnaround jumper. So I think Knueppel's a home run pick, good connecting piece here for New Orleans at number 7. The Nets just need a guy. I'm going Jeremiah Fears, the point guard from Oklahoma. An unbelievable, slippery, smooth guard that can get inside, can finish among traffic, has a good float game, shot 85% from the free throw line last year, which means I'm not that concerned about his poor 3-point shooting because he is a good shooter, and I think that will convey. Fears, to me, has been rising up boards. I've been on him a while here. I think he's a lock to go inside the top 10. Brooklyn, who just needs lead guys around Cam Johnson company, I think would be very happy with Jeremiah Fears being their point guard of the future. Going to unveil the rest of the lottery mock draft here in a second, but shout out your favorite team for me down in the comment section. Represent who is your favorite squad. Did they get lucky in the lottery? Did they not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. All right, the Raptors here at number 9 fell from number 7 to this spot. Unfortunately for them, they don't get a top guy, but I think they still get a player that I would have had mocked to them if they kept the 7th pick. I'll be honest, the one thing that they need the most, I think, is center. Because you have Quickly under contract, you have RJ Barrett under contract, you traded for Brandon Ingram, you have Scotty Barnes. So ideally, those are your core 4. Jakob Poeltl getting up there in age, maybe not the most winning basketball player. You need a center to back him up next season and then take over in the future. You could argue either him or Kaman Malawach. I think Queen is better offensive guy, better rebounder. He can play make. Yeah, he's not as good as a rim protector, but he's better in almost everything else. So I have Derek Queen as my number 1 center and a no-brain pick here for Toronto if he's on the board. Houston, I'm going to go with that other center in Kaman Malawich at number 10 here. I think if I think their team, if they don't make a splash move, I think they need a true backup center to Alperen Sengun. They had Steven Adams. He played well. But could you get someone more athletic, more talented in that role? Assuming they run back most of the team, you have your point guard Van Vliet. You have your 2 guard in Jalen Green and Amen Thompson in that 3. Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Sengun. So to me, you just are filling out your bench. And if they keep this pick, I think Malawach at 10 makes sense. a guy that needs some developing but has unbelievable talent, 7-foot height without shoes, 7'6" plus wingspan, needs to improve his rebounding, but is an elite finisher around the rim and a good rim protector as well. Would be a great guy to come off the bench for the Rockets and give him 10 to 16 minutes a game in the regular season. Probably wouldn't be able to be that impactful in the playoffs. Maybe I'm wrong on that right away in year one, but would be a great regular season role player for Houston. Number 11, the Blazers go with Colin Murray-Boyles, the forward from South Carolina, a player that has been comped to Draymond Green, and I know that is aggressive, comping him to someone who is a Hall of Famer, a multi-time Defensive Player of the Year, but they have similar size profiles, similar play styles, mid-range and in, can play make in the half court off the dribble, but as a dribble handoff creator, a good back cut passer, a good cutter himself, can post up and make things happen. Murray-Boyles needs to improve his three-point shot to have a consistent offensive role at the next level, but as a great piece defensively, would be fit next to Shaedon Sharpe, Simons, Scoot Henderson, Donovan Clingan extremely well. I mean, a Clingan Murray-Boyles front court, you question the spacing offensively, but the defense would just be unbelievable. I think Murray-Boyles is a good option here for the Blazers at 11. Rounding out the last three picks in the lottery, I'm going aggressive with my 12th pick. That's Thomas Sorber, the freshman from Georgetown. Now, he might ultimately go back in the draft or into college because he only played in 24 games this past season as a true freshman, hurt his foot late, is at the combine, came in at 6'10" with a 7'6" wingspan, one of the most ridiculous plus wingspans I've seen in the NBA since I've started covering it over the last 3 or 4 seasons. The Bulls desperately need a center to replace Vucevic in the long term. Sorber not going to be relied on to play a lot year one, but could be a front court duo with Buzelis of the future for Chicago. Rim protector, good interior guy. Reminds me play style a little bit of Jalen Duren from the Pistons, but has a little bit more upside offensively in terms of back to the basket game. I am growing very, very fond of Thomas Sorber. Number 13, the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going with Nick Clifford. This pick is courtesy of the Kings. I think Clifford, an older prospect, he has played every role at the college level. You want him to be the number 2 scorer? Yeah, he did that to Isaiah Stevens in 2023. In 2024, he became the lead guy, averaged 19 points a game and 9 boards. He played as a reserve player for Colorado before transferring to Colorado State. So he's been a role player, he's been a reserve player, the star player, and the number 2 guy. He could come in, play off ball, play on ball, be a wing defender, a 3-and-D guy. To me, he plays so many different roles, and in a team that can just use winning basketball players in Atlanta surrounding Trae Young, assuming they keep him, I think Nick Clifford's a really good option. And now you have a front court trio of Jalen Johnson, Nick Clifford, and Zachary Sachet. That's very, very fascinating, moving them between 2 and 4 on that roster. The final pick of this mock draft, because we're only doing a lottery on here following the results today, we're Rasheer Fleming, the forward from St. Joe's. Rasheer Fleming, 6'8" and change, 7'5" wingspan, really elite shooter, shot 39% on 4.5 attempts for St. Joe's last season. Good defender, good finisher in transition, an athlete. He wouldn't start for San Antonio, but assuming they keep this pick, they take Dylan Harper. You have a starting lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, maybe you bring Harper off the bench year one. So let's say those two are your starting backcourt. Vassell at the 3. Fill in your 4 with Wembanyama at the 5, and then you have Harper and Fleming as a rookie duo off the bench with some other veterans that can help you out too, like Keldon Johnson. Yeah, sign me up for that. Fleming can do it on both ends of the floor. I am really high on him. He's my 11th overall prospect on my big board currently, but just due to fits, fall here at 14 to San Antonio. Big fan of this potential pairing if this ultimately plays out like I think it could. All right, that will do it for this episode of NBA Now. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you want more NBA draft thoughts, content, concerns, follow me on X at Nic_Rohloff. I'll give you a follow back if you comment and DM me that you know ball. Not me, but you. Let me know.